Hey, it's Anna. Welcome back to my channel, and it is time for the April Readathon. I am excited for this readathon, as I feel like I am for all of them. However, I also feel like I've read a lot of books this month because of the ARC video I did earlier this month, and I don't know how I fully feel in terms of all the physical books I still want to read. I feel like it's been a lot on my eyes lately. I know I should see an eye doctor. Probably should make an appointment for that. So I actually have the most physical books on my list this weekend, which is great because I feel like audiobooks have been kind of a focus and I really only have one of those. And then technically I have an ARC that I could read, but I don't think I'm going to necessarily focus on that. I just have a certain scenario where I feel like reading the ARC just goes a little bit easier. So let's talk about everything I'm hoping to read during this readathon. First up, I have already read 17 minutes of Wayward, which is so far my only audiobook for this readathon. I don't have another book that is ready to go in my opinion on Libby. I do have a book that just came off of hold like shortly before recording this, but I don't know if I want to pick it up or not. So we're sticking with Wayward for now. I am literally 20 some minutes into it because I listened to one chapter yesterday and then I've listened to one chapter this morning. Definitely a book already. There are 3 different perspectives. On the plus side, there are 3 different narrators, so that will help me be able to focus. However, because it's so early into the book, I don't fully know everything about the characters, so I feel like I still have to listen very, very closely, which is totally fine by me. I just think that might be a little bit harder to listen to during work today. So at least this morning, I'm going to focus on the audiobook, hoping to get to a good enough place to where I can distinguish the 3 perspectives and then continue listening to it. But that's only 11 hours and I feel like I can probably get through it this weekend. So I should have another audiobook chosen, but we'll see where the weekend takes us in terms of choosing an audiobook. And then for my only ebook that I'm going to focus on during the readathon is The Stardust Girl by Yume Katatsu, which is an ARC. I did briefly start this in my ARC video, and the main scenario where I would read this is if I'm walking on the treadmill. I haven't tried reading a physical book on the treadmill in a while, so I'm just having this as a backup in case that doesn't go well. I've been trying to walk on my treadmill more. I know I also could walk outside, but it's actually supposed to rain today and Sunday, and so just trying to get some steps in. I am having this, again, just in case, definitely not a focus. This also doesn't come out until June, so I have some time. It's not like I'm ignoring my ARCs. And then this is my stack of physical books. Only one of these books I have not started. So let me talk about all the books I have started. First up, The Reality Bug, which is book 4 of Pendragon. Now listen, I'm doing a fully separate video on this. I didn't think I would talk about this at all, but I do want to finish it during said readathon because look at how close I am to the end. Are you kidding? I was just so tired. I could not push myself to finish it. So I just want to finish it. And that feels like a little bit of cheating to me, but I just want to be honest and not like hide the fact that I read this. So I'm probably going to finish this. I probably won't talk too much about it because again, I have a whole separate video that I'm planning. It won't come out until probably November when I finish the entire series, but I'm just very close to finishing it. So I just want to finish it. And then we have My Darling Dreadful Thing, which is an ARC that comes out in May. I said this in my last video. This book is for somebody. That somebody is not necessarily me. I have this much to go. I'm not to the point where I dislike the book. I'm still curious, but I feel like there are just other books I want to read more. And I feel like some people have called that like soft DNFing. So where you put down a book, not because it's bad, but just because there are other books pulling your interest more. I'm definitely going to push myself to finish this weekend. I should definitely be able to with how much is left. I am ideally going to motivate myself with the other 2 books that I'm going to talk about to finish this. If you are curious about what this is definitely a like gothic horror, it feels like, and I feel like I'm saying gothic, but it's probably not true. They just go to a creepy mansion. There's a 21-year-old girl who can talk to this spirit creature she calls Ruth, and the spirit creature can like take over her body, and she meets Agnes, who is like a rich widow, and Agnes takes in Ruse, who is the girl who can talk to Ruth the spirit creature, and then they develop like a type of tumultuous relationship, and then Ruse is like, I just want to make Agnes happy, and she ends up doing something that is a little controversial to try to make Agnes happy. I don't know the result of what she did because we find out what she did midway through the book. It's kind of just, you know, a little all over the place. The plot wasn't very clear until midway through the book. Not necessarily a book that was crafted for me, which is obviously fine. I do think this is for somebody out there. It comes out in May, so this is a physical ARC, and I do really want to finish it. So my plan when reading My Dreadful Darling Thing is to flip between some chapters of the other books that I have. First up is The Brothers Hawthorne. I know the 5th book is coming out later this year, so I just want to get through this. Short, snappy chapters. I love Jennifer Lynn Barnes' writing. I think she's an author that I've read some of the most books for, so I know this one will be pretty quick. I started it last month. I am, I think, 60 pages in, and I ended at a chapter, so I feel like I generally remember what happened at the beginning of this book, and so I'm super excited to read this. And so my thought could be read a chapter here, read a chapter of My Darling Dreadful Thing, and kind of bounce back and forth between the two books. These chapters are so short, it just gives my brain, I think, enough time to like digest what happened in My Darling Dreadful Thing and then kind of lift my spirits a little bit because the book is a little creepy and sad for me. And then we have Funny Story by Emily Henry. I have read the majority of Emily Henry books in one day in one sitting, and I have the opportunity to do that on Sunday. The text looks like it's pretty big, so I am kind of happy about that. I did see a video where someone thought they had like a special print book, but it was large print. Mine is not large print, so I am excited to get to this. Do I fully know what it's about? No. This is the only book where I don't like know the premise of it, but that's okay because I have enjoyed the majority of the Emily Henry books. My least favorite was actually Happy Place. I believe this one is just focused on one couple, just based off the cover. That's my assumption. I feel like I'm going to like this one again. I do like the decorations on the side. I feel like it's just fun. So we'll see how I feel about this. I know I've seen like some videos where people thought they were getting a funny story, but they're getting something more serious. I feel like it's all of Emily Henry's books. I don't know why people think they go into her books and it's like a happy, fun time. I don't know. I've never felt that way about her books at all. I feel like there's always a serious undertone to all of her books. So again, hoping to get through this ideally Sunday. So that means between Friday and Saturday. I would ideally want to finish all of these books, but I will take finishing My Darling Dreadful Thing and Pendragon while still leaving off somewhere in the Brothers Hawthorne. So as you can see, a lot of physical reading this week. In terms of what I have on the docket, I was going to cut the grass today, which is audiobook focused. We're back to cutting the grass in these readathons, but it's supposed to storm. I'm not cutting wet grass. I have learned that is not something you should do. It makes it very, very tough. So in theory, I have really nothing today. I have nothing Sunday, and I have a baby shower on Saturday. So really, I don't have too much. I would love to hit 30 in this readathon. I feel like I haven't said that yet in a readathon this year, but I feel like this is the first readathon where I can really push myself. The biggest factor I feel like today is going to be what can happen during the working hours of Friday, trying to get some audiobook hours in to help push me to that 30. Because let me tell you, when it hits 5 o'clock today, I'm done. I'm switching to a physical book for sure. Even if the audiobook is very good, and I'm not saying the audiobook's not going to be very good, I just know that I really want to finish the Pendragon book. I want to get back to the Brothers Hawthorne, and I want to prep myself for all day Sunday reading for Funny Story. So I'm really motivated to get through my physical books this time around. So we'll just have to see what happens. I am super excited. I feel like the books are pretty different, so I'm excited to talk about them all during this video. And let's go see how much we can get listened to via audiobook during the workday. All right, it is end of day one of the April readathon. I didn't get as far as I would have liked to time-wise. Work was just overly busy today, but that's okay. Let me show you at least how far I've gotten. I'm at 6 hours and 2 minutes, and the way that I figure this to hit 24 hours, which now officially has to be my new goal, which makes me a little sad, is that I had to get 6 hours in today, at least 6 hours tomorrow, and then I'll get 12 on Sunday, because I really plan on just reading physical books Sunday. I had said at the beginning of this readathon that I really wanted to hit 30, and I might have jinxed myself a little bit. So obviously I'm at 6 hours right now, which means I would have to get another 12 in tomorrow and 12 in on Sunday, which I thought would be feasible. However, my husband and I are going golfing tomorrow to try to give me a new hobby outside of the house, outside of reading. So now I'm going to be out of the house socializing definitely between 11 and 1. No audiobooks will be able to happen tomorrow, and then however long we are golfing. So that does put quite a bit of time taken out of the day, but we'll see how far we can get. I'm definitely hopeful to finish some physical books and also to hopefully finish my one audiobook, depending on how much driving we're doing to get to the golf course, and of course driving to get to the baby shower will help. Starting with the audiobook Wayward, I don't know what I was thinking when I put this book on hold. I think I had read the description when I did like the Goodreads Awards in a video last year, and it sounded really good. I need to stop thinking that books that take place in multiple times are somehow clearly connected from the get-go. get-go, because I can see how the timelines are going to get together in Wayward. We have a timeline in like the 1600s, in 1942, and in 2019. So I see maybe how everything's gonna be in line, but I'm actually not 100% sure. It is super character driven. People love character driven books. I am not people in that sense. Wayward, not going to be a 5-star read for me, unfortunately. Do I think it's bad? No, which is good. I mean, I am interested to see how all the storylines come together, because I think I know where it's gonna go, but the last time I thought I knew where something was gonna go, it went a completely opposite way. Could be worse. At least I have some interest in the book. And another book I still have interest in, but I know is not gonna be a favorite, is My Darling Dreadful Thing, which I've read quite a bit. This bookmark has definitely moved since the clip earlier this morning. I am very proud of myself. I figure worst case scenario, I have like 100-ish pages left. So if I can read 50 pages tomorrow before the busy day, and I do 50 pages on Sunday, I can finish this book and be done with it. Again, do I think it's like a bad book? No, I do think it's a little creepy. I think it's a little slow. I feel like some of the things that are supposed to be big plot moments just aren't hitting for me, but I still have some mystery. I still want to figure out exactly what happened, so I'm still gonna read this. Again, I think it's just gonna be a 3-star book for me, but it's definitely a book for somebody out there. I did finish the Pendragon book today. I did not have that many pages left, and I'm gonna say this here because I don't want to talk too much about it in this video. I have never wanted to pick up the next book in a series more than this one. The fact that there are other books that I'm so excited about on this readathon, but that the 5th book of the Pendragon series makes me want to drop everything and read it, I think just says something about the series itself. Then lastly, we have The Brothers Hawthorne. I've read a little bit. This is what I'm going to read the rest of the night after I do my physical therapy for my shoulder. We're just gonna see how much I can read. I kind of like to do this at night where I just like put my phone away and I don't look at it and I just see how long that I can read for. So that's what I'm gonna do here. We had a long stretch from one brother's perspective and now we just switched to the other brothers. So I'm pretty excited to switch the perspectives. In case you don't know anything about the Brothers Hawthorns, you might want to like go ahead for about a minute because this is the 4th book in the Inheritance Game series, I believe. And so you are following brothers Grayson and Jameson. They have 2 very different missions. However, both the missions are surprisingly family related, which I think is fun. And I love Avery's perspective. So we do see Avery in this book, which is very exciting. I'm super excited for the 5th book. And I'm really hoping Jennifer Lynn Barnes goes back to Anderson's because she wasn't able to make it on her last book tour. So I'm hoping I can meet her. So I want to make sure that I get this done. And then I did rent another audiobook on Libby. So that is 0 Days by Ruth Ware. I have not read any Ruth Ware books. So this is my first one by her. I am really hoping to be able to get to maybe a little bit of it this weekend, but the goal would be obviously to get to Funny Story on Sunday and read the entire thing. So I don't fully know where the readathon's gonna go. I know tomorrow when I wake up, it's going to be physical book focused until I leave because then it'll be pretty audiobook focused. We'll just have to see how the day goes. We are only golfing 9 holes tomorrow, so I might be way overestimating the amount of time that is like required to do that, but I don't know anything about golf, so we'll have to see, and I'll definitely let you know. But let's go on to day 2 and see where the morning takes us. All right, it is day 2 of the readathon. I am getting ready to head to the baby shower, one of my weekend obligations, so let me tell you what I've read this morning. I am at 9 hours and 21 minutes, which I am pretty happy about because if I can get to at least 12 hours today, I know I can reach 24 hours with tomorrow because I really don't have a ton on my plate tomorrow. I did finish My Darling Dreadful Thing. I don't know what I was expecting from the end. I just don't know if the book was too easily predictable for me. I feel like there's not a ton of resolution, so it's definitely just not a book for me. And I will say with this physical arc, it was sent in like a Halloween box with a Frida McFadden book, and the Frida McFadden book is the one that I had wanted, and I believe that's why I'm like on her PR list for that. So this was an additional arc. I feel like if I had requested physical arcs that I didn't think I would like, that would kind of look, you know, not really good. So I didn't like officially request this arc, and now it's not a book that I don't necessarily like. So I just want to make that clear. But like I said, for people who like more character-driven stories, for people who like more of the horror, there was one random like semi-spicy scene in this, and I was like, what are we doing? Like the book just went in a completely different direction. So overall, you know, for other people out there, not necessarily for me, but I did finish it. I pushed through, and I had seen how close I was to the end, and so I definitely focused more on this book this morning than my other book. I got a little more into the Brothers Hawthorne. I am enjoying it. I definitely like one storyline more than the other personally. I like Jameson's storyline more than Grayson's right now. Maybe that'll change because we've spent more time in Grayson's, and maybe that'll change just because we've spent more time in Jameson's, so I understand the mission a little bit better. But I don't know, I feel like I understand the mission in Grayson's side too, and I'm just like not as interested in it. So it's gonna be interesting to see how the rest of this book plays out when I read it over the weekend. I'm really gonna focus when I can, if I'm just like sitting at home or trying to walk on the treadmill or something, I'm gonna really try to focus on getting as far as I can through this, because first thing tomorrow morning is when I'm opening Funny Story. I'm not gonna open it today. This will be the focus for today. The baby shower is like, I don't know, 50 minutes-ish from where we live, so I'm definitely going to continue to listen to Wayward. I've listened to a bit of Wayward this morning, and I need to really reflect on descriptions, because the description of the book to me sounded very interesting. I'm over halfway through it now. I don't necessarily find myself like drawn to a storyline, but I think the storyline that I like don't get excited when I hear the narrator's name in this book is Violet, which is the 1942 storyline. I think the trial is the most interesting to hear about, and that is again in like the 1600s because it's a witch trial. And then the modern day storyline with Kate, I don't fully know how I feel about it yet. I will say you should definitely look up the trigger warnings before reading this book. I can see maybe for, again, some character-driven people out there, maybe this is, going to be a favorite book. I have really loved some character-driven books, so that's why I'm not completely turned off to them. But yeah, Wayward is definitely not probably going to be a top book for me. I am still interested to listen to it though, because I want to figure out how all the three storylines connect. I'm not gonna lie, if they don't connect, I would be pretty disappointed, but I have a feeling they're going to connect. I don't exactly know when, and I don't exactly know how, but that's kind of what I am holding on to. So I probably won't check in until after the baby shower and golfing. It is extremely windy here today, and tomorrow it's supposed to rain, so I'm super excited to have like a rainy read day tomorrow and hopefully get to all of Funny Story tomorrow. And I'll be interested to see how far I can get with the Brothers Hawthorne. I don't have to leave right this second for the baby shower, so I am going to read a little bit of the Brothers Hawthorne before I listen to Wayward on my way there. So hopefully by the next time I check back in, I should be 3/4 of the way through Wayward, and maybe I'll have a different perception of the book, but we'll just have to see. All right, we are midway through day 3 of the Readathon, and yesterday after the baby shower and going golfing, I didn't do too much reading. I did get quite a ways through Wayward between yesterday and today. I think I have about like an hour and 40-ish minutes left of Wayward, so we'll see how I feel at the end of it. I feel like just now it's starting to get into like shorter, snappier chapters. I feel like I kind of understand how the timelines are together, but I'm still hoping for like a little bit more clarity on that in regards to Wayward. And then I'm hoping I start another audiobook today, but we'll see. Wayward is an audiobook I've pretty much listened to entirely during this readathon, which I feel like doesn't usually happen. So pretty proud that I can hopefully get through it today when I continue to listen. I'm currently at 19 hours and 15 minutes. There is not as much time left on this Sunday as I thought there would be. A lot of time was eaten up yesterday, which is fine. I anticipated that. However, now I don't have a lot of like content for the rest of the week on all of my other platforms, but I really want to just get through 24 hours first and then see if I even feel like doing any type of content, how much content I feel like making, or however far I want to push past 24 hours. Maybe I'll just do that and work on it in the morning. Not 100% sure there. But day 3 I feel like so far has been pretty successful because I've spent the majority of time reading Funny Story by Emily Henry, her latest release, and I am almost done with it. I know you might be like, how can you even stop reading when you have only that much left and film this? I want to go walk on my treadmill, and I'm like, this is the time I said I would do it, and I'm that far from finishing it, so I'll probably finish it while walking on the treadmill, but I just wanted to make sure I filmed this before that. In regards to Funny Story, to me, I relate the most to Daphne compared to any other like female main character from the Emily Henry universe. And I feel like I see the most of my husband in Miles in the Emily Henry universe as well. So I feel like this is just very personally written to me, which is why I'm leaning towards it being like such a favorite, because a lot of what Daphne did, I feel like at some point I've done some variation of it. So I'm really actually loving it. Do I think this is for everybody? No. And this is a book where I'm leaning towards rating it 5 stars, but I can definitely see why people may not like this book as much as some of her other ones. Because yes, I can see exactly how flawed Daphne is. I can completely understand her mindset because I've been there before. And I feel like if people haven't been in the exact mindset of Daphne before, they can find her kind of annoying. And then with Miles, in terms of how he is behaving, again, I feel like if you know at this point, and I feel like this is written for like a very specific type of person, so it might not be as well received by everybody, but we'll just have to see. I've personally seen mixed reviews of it on social media so far, and yeah, mine, I could probably read a 1-star review of this book and be like, yeah, you had really great points, but I feel like this was a little too personal for me, and I definitely feel like I'm reading this more so with my heart than I have any other book in a while. I feel like other books, I can be a little more even keel about the rating, but this one is solely like, it just speaks to my heart, speaks to who I am as a person, speaks to my own growth as a person, and I'm only 5 years younger than Daphne, so it's not like I'm completely far off, but yeah, so I am really liking it so far, and I'm almost done with it. So the plan is to walk on the treadmill for, I don't know how long. I'll probably start editing this video and then just trying to get to 24 hours however I can. Obviously finishing Wayward and Funny Story would be fantastic. I don't know how far I would get into 0 Days by Ruth Ware, and I am excited for my first Ruth Ware book, so I'm excited to have that going into next month anyway. And then in terms of the Brothers Hawthorne, like I said, that was my last physical book on my TBR for April, but I've loved to finish it. I just realistically don't think I'm going to be able to finish it today because I'm pretty sure I have like 3/4 of the book left, if not more than that. So I just don't realistically I'm going to finish it in like the hours that I have. But the fact that I've gotten so far into it, I can just put it on my physical TBR for May and finish it then. I feel like I'm starting to have more and more books that I know are going to be in my TBR just because of being in a book club and reading the Pendragon series, that I'm not putting too many other books on my TBR right now. So I feel like this is the perfect place to get the Brothers Hawthorne finished, hopefully again before meeting Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So let's walk on the treadmill. I don't know the next time I'm going to check in, to be frank. I'm hoping I just check in at the very end of the readathon, but I maybe might do like a mid-round check-in. We'll see. It is the end of the April readathon where I was way too ambitious in the beginning. My bad. I did get to 24 hours and 50 minutes, which I'm personally super proud of considering how much of my Saturday was spent outside of the house. Pretty good there. I also feel like this is the most books I've finished within a readathon in a while. So starting with the audiobook that I finished was Wayward. I think I'm giving it like a 3. Realistically, I've thought about it. It might be a 2.5. I haven't rated something in the 2 range yet, but 3, I have no dislike of it. And there were definitely some things where I'm just not sure if I actually liked them in Wayward. So I'm really trying to think about my rating there, but definitely on the lower end of the rating for me. But I did finish the audiobook, and then I got to about, I want to say like 3-ish hours into 0 Days by Ruth Ware. I think I'm gonna like Ruth Ware as an author. However, this audiobook narrator is just speaking at such a snail's pace. Now, I am someone that has OCD. One of my therapist exercises for me is to not do things at 2 times speed, because then it becomes less about enjoyment and more about an accomplishment. So I listen to all my audiobooks at 1 time speed. And there has been very few times that I have wanted to speed up solely because I'm like not enjoying the speed of the book. It's been less than 5 books where the narrator has made me want to speed up just because I'm not enjoying it. And that is this book right now. I don't want to speed up just so I can get through it and put it on my list and have April be a really good reading month. The narrator's just talking so slow. So it's going to be interesting to see how this keeps going. Also, the chapters are very long. Like chapter 3, I think, was 180 minutes. So technically 3 hours. So no real good stopping place in the audiobook there, which is fine. It prepares me for her other books. So I kind of know, because lately I've been reading until the end of chapters. And now I just kind of know that maybe her books I need to read in a day or figure some type of method out or find a good stopping place in the middle of the chapter, things like that. I did read my last few pages of Pendragon. This this is a 5 out of 5. Honestly, I'm gonna go more in depth with my actual Pendragon video. Again, that's coming out in October. You can probably check my Goodreads for a review in like 2 weeks, but I absolutely loved this. My Darling Dreadful Thing, so I think I'm comparing this specifically to Wayward, and I think this does fall in like the 3-star range. I think there was at least a little more plot, a little more mystery, even though it was extremely predictable, but I don't think it gave me the same feelings as Wayward did, which in this case was a good thing. So I did finish my Darling Dreadful Thing. I think I read about half of this. So we had a book where I only read a few pages to finish it, a book where I read half of it to finish it, and then a book that I completely started and finished during this readathon, Funny Story. Listen, this is a 5-star read that I will take criticism of for me. Just because I felt so personally connected to the characters, I feel like that's pushing it over into the 5-star realm for me. But I can definitely see how there's criticism. I can see how there's cringe. I can see how people might think this is their least favorite Emily Henry book. In my opinion, if you liked Happy Place, Funny Story is probably not going to be your speed, because this is probably my favorite Emily Henry book. I was talking to a friend and she said Happy Place was her favorite, and then Funny Story wasn't one of her favorites, and I'm like, yeah, this is a completely different vibe from Happy Place in my opinion. So I feel like if people really loved Happy Place, I can see how they don't like this book, but this is going to be a 5-star for me. And then The Brothers Hawthorne, I got through, like an okay portion of it. I'm proud of how much I read of it, and I'm definitely going to put it on my TBR for May. I am just happy to have gotten 4 physical books read, and so this would have been my 5th physical book. I did a lot of ARC reading this month, but I am just happy to have done 4 physical books, put this on my May TBR, and I'll hopefully finish it. And then I didn't talk about it at all, but I thought this would just be a fun update. I had mentioned that maybe I would read some of the Stardust Grail because this is a June ARC that I was lucky enough to get if I was reading on the treadmill. And I didn't pick this up at all, but the author and I are mutuals on TikTok, and she actually reached out to me and asked if I wanted a physical ARC of this book. And I was like, well, I love physical books, trying to build my own library. I was like, but I also already have the ARC on NetGalley, so I totally understand if you don't want to send me a physical copy of the ARC. I did tell her that I love Deep Sky, so I think because I was a little bit of a fangirl, she did send me a physical copy of this, which is hopefully going to be something I open this week. I'm super excited. I can switch to a different ARC on my Kindle because I do still have quite a few for June left, and then I can physically read the Stardust Grail, so I'm super, super excited. And that's been our readathon. Like I said, I think fairly successful. I'm interested to see how the May readathon goes. I'm still really debating taking a Friday off. It would either have to be for the July readathon or for the May readathon that I would take a day off and I would just read the entire day on Friday and see what 3 full days of like no working, just reading could get me. I'm really, really leaning towards doing that because I just think it would be fun to see what that would look like, how I would feel, my energy levels, things like that. So let me know if you think that should be for May or July. And then for the June readathon, it's actually not going to be the last weekend of June. It's going to be the first time I have to switch that rule, but I'm really excited for the reasons why. So definitely stick around for the fun readathons we're still going to do this year.